Welcome to the 2024 Chevy Traverse. It's redesigned for this model year, but this is a car that we have loved for a very long time. It is an SUV from Chevrolet, but it does everything that we love in a minivan. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to know all the details in the Chevy Traverse, click the link right up here. There's all the details, pricing, trims, everything in our story at A Girl's Guide to Cars. And be sure to follow along on social media for more little details about our drive in the Chevy Traverse. Now for 2024, there's an off-road version and there's an RS edition, a Rally Sport edition, that gives you even more sporty features and a sportier drive on the road. So there's some things that are really incredible in this car and new for this year that you need to know, including Super Cruise, a 4-cylinder engine. Before you react to the 4-cylinder engine, I have more to tell you on that, and some new features inside that are going to make it even more convenient for families. So the big news here is now this very large SUV has a 4-cylinder engine. And there are some people, some skeptics, who are going to say that's not enough. But it produces 328 horsepower. And get this, Chevrolet has tested this engine, as they do all of their engines, to 150,000 miles. Now it has, the warranty isn't that long, but they expect it to go at least 150,000 miles, probably more like 200,000 miles, and tow up to 5,000 pounds. So a lot of capacity, a lot of capability in this 4-cylinder turbo engine. You will not be disappointed. It performs really well. We took it out on the road to see how it is under pressure. The Chevy Traverse has been completely redesigned for 2024. It starts with this new grille, and the RS version that we're driving, it has that RS badge right here on the grille, and I like this black gloss. It looks really sharp. I also like the black and white together. Notice those really slender daytime running lights, and then the headlights are actually right down there. And then we have lower air intake vents. It has these nice large wheels with shiny black inserts because RS. There's the Traverse badge on the side. I like the body color door handles, and these buttons, when you have the key in the pocket, all you do is push this button to enter the car, to unlock the car. I like that feature as well. On the rear, we have new tail lights. They are the classic tail lights you're going to see on other Chevrolet cars and SUVs. So they sort of wrap around the side of the Traverse. And then there's this contiguous bar. It's not a light bar, but they did put the Chevy badge right there. They're one of the few manufacturers that's still putting the badge on the back of the car rather than spelling out the name of the car. I kind of like that. That's their zigging when everybody else zags. There is the Traverse all-wheel drive, and then again that RS badge. And you can see from the size of the Chevy Traverse, this is a full-size SUV. So you can see actually how long this window is here. This is the third row and the cargo area, and then a really nice wide opening center door for installing kids' car seats, and a nice wide space for front seat passengers as well. Really nicely done. I want to show you what you get behind the third row and behind the second row when it comes to seating. So first of all, one thing that I really like is the head clearance here. So you think about tailgating, and when people sit in the rear of the cargo area for watching a soccer match, watching a parade, I've done a lot of that, you have a place to sit without bumping your head, which I really like. If you would like to put these seats down, in our version, we have power folding seats. So I can just push this button here, and these seats go down just like that. I can also fold the center row seats. Whoops, I can't do that one, but I can do this one. So I can fold those center row seats and they go flat. And that gives you a really large contiguous cargo space in the back of the 2024 Chevy Traverse. And check this out in the cargo area. I love this so much. So there is this really nice cargo area underneath, and it is designed to hold drinks. It is water resistant and it has drains. You can just actually pull these drain plugs out if you want to fill it with water or ice or whatever. And, or, you know, maybe put your fish in there after you've been fishing. I've heard that suggestion, but I don't think I would do that. But it really is a great place. And I have found these type of bins to be the perfect place to hide holiday presents when you're shopping and you don't want anyone to know what you bought. It's pretty impressive, and it has some really great features inside. So let me show you what's new in the 2024 Chevy Traverse. So what does the driver get behind the wheel of the Chevy Traverse? Well, we're in the RS edition, and that means everything. But let me show you what's new for 2024. I'm going to start with this very wide, sort of flat angled screen. So it's actually a two-piece. There's a driver display here and then a multimedia screen here. There's even an off button. If you want to turn it off, you can just tap this little button right there and it turns it on and turns it off. And then there's a dial here for radio volume. That's kind of a unique thing too. That's something that we're not seeing a lot of, is a lot of times manufacturers will put the volume over here or they'll put it on the steering wheel, but you don't get something right there, a real dial. Down here we have this dash that has this sort of red carbon fiber treatment. I just started the engine and I'd like to drive away and it won't allow me. I can't even shift gears because it says buckle seatbelt to shift. I love that Chevrolet actually tells you that, because that is a pretty common feature. It's increasingly common in cars. They don't always tell you. So once I buckle my seatbelt, then I can actually shift it into gear. Now it won't let me go because it's telling me the door's open. So I like all the notifications on the driver display here in the Chevy Traverse. Some other things I want to show you. There's some things that you need to be aware of. One is if you're looking over here for your headlight controls, you're not going to find them because they're actually right here. So I'm going to show you how to control the headlights. So this is your headlight control there. I have it actually on, but I can turn it to auto, or I could just turn on my my daytime running lights, but I'm going to turn it on auto. And then if I do want to just turn on those fog lights, they're right there as well. Over here is my lane keep assist. So if I want to turn it on or off, I can tap that. And I can tap this little icon for more controls. So this is where I can turn on or off my auto high beams, which automatically gives you high beam headlights when you need it. When it senses a pedestrian or another car, it will actually turn those lights down to the regular illumination. And then I can also tap auto park assist. So I can pull into or out of a parking spot here using this system, which is a really, really cool feature, especially for parallel parking or for maybe a really tight parking spot. This is where you can set the height of the lift gate, and you can turn on or off the rear windows, the power windows. But if you would like to turn on the automatic lift gate, the proximity lift gate, it opens the lift gate when you're standing next to it with the key. You're going to do that under vehicle settings, comfort and convenience, hands-free exterior storage access. And you can turn it off or you can turn it to open. And this, it even says here, for access, wait nearby with a remote key. So if you're standing with the key fob behind the car, it will flash the lights, you'll hear a little beep, and then it will open the lift gate for you. That's where you find it, is under comfort and convenience, hands-free exterior storage access, or cargo area. So what else do we have here in this new system? I want to show you this. Hey Google, set the cabin temperature to 66 degrees. So I can set cabin temperature. It may not do it again because it has the because connectivity isn't great. But there are all kinds of features. You can navigate, you can choose your radio station, you can turn the music up or down. A lot of things that you can do using this Google activated system. Another thing that's really nice is it has Google Maps. So all of the maps in here, you'll notice the Google icon. You'll notice all of these very familiar features here. This is all Google driven. You can still, however, use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. All you do is plug it in and those features still work in the 2024 Chevy Traverse. So let's talk about climate control now. So we do have these fixed, you've seen us using the screen and adjusting different things. We still have our fixed features here. So it'll show the temperature of the cabin. It'll show you can turn the AC on or off. Here is the fan speed. These are actually duplicate controls because we have most of those over here as well. But these are static and it's a display. So even though you can choose to change the cabin temperature by tapping the arrows on either side, you can also use this dial and get the same effect, or you can ask Google to do it. She's happy to do it for you too. Setting the climate control is easy. We have these fixed icons here for fan speed. You can turn on the heated and cooled seats pretty easily and set the temperature. Then there are buttons here. But if you really want to customize like fan direction and things like that, on our main screen, you'll click climate. And then you'll get this. And so here's the front seat, and you can change fan direction. So if you want it coming out of these lower vents, you tap that one in the middle. This is for feet, so your heat in the winter, and then this is the windshield. And you can also change the fan speed really easily and temperature there. You can also set climate for the rear seat. You probably don't want the air coming from underneath the seats, but you do want it coming out of all of those vents. And then you can change the fan speed here for rear seat. So there's rear seat and front seat climate control. What else do we have here? So we have a wireless phone charger here. There's 4 ways to power a phone in this little cubby. So there's a wireless phone charger here, USB-C, standard USB, and a 12-volt outlet. I like to think of this as a cigarette adapter style power outlet, which is a cumbersome mouthful, but that's exactly what it is. Then we have 2 cup holders. There is a little cubby here. This was a great place to tuck a key or any other kind of stuff here. And then let me show you one of my favorite features. There is a place to put your handbag right here underneath the center console. So that's another thing that we've seen in a lot of cars recently, in recent years, but I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, a small handbag, a nice little, say a crossbody is going to tuck in there really easily. Pop your phone there, pop your crossbody there, or leave a makeup bag there. Then you'll always have your lip gloss, your sunblock, and all the things that you need, your sunglasses right there. Anytime you hop into the car, there you have it. Underneath here, there is a nice deep well. So this is where you can leave, extra change, your car wash coupons, things like that, things that you don't need all the time. And then there's this little tray. This is the perfect place to put your snacks and things because it has a little rubber mat. And if it gets all gooey and dirty, you can throw it in the dishwasher. Ours is the RS edition. So it has these RS on the seats and it has this really pretty sort of sport stripe here and red stitching throughout. And these are leather seats. So a really nice detail for the RS edition. And it makes riding in this car even more comfortable. Also on our RS edition is the digital rear view mirror. I love this so much. I can't even tell you how much I love it, but I will tell you why I love it. So I can flip it this way and I have a reflective image that I can see through the rear window, or I can flip it this way and I get a video view behind the car. And here's why I love it. If you have 3 butts in those 3 rear seats, you cannot see out that window. If you have loaded this car to the gills for dorm move-in, you cannot see out of the rear window. You still have your side mirrors. That's legally all you really need. But to have that video view is fantastic when you have a full load. It's also great at night because this gives you a much brighter, much more clear image of what's behind the car. So for drivers who have some amount of night blindness or just struggle to see in the dark, this gives them a very clear image of what's behind them. And also it's easier to see cars with bright lights. You're not quite so blinded because the contrast is much less. I really love a digital rear view mirror for driving at night. Now let's talk about this panoramic sunroof. The panoramic sunroof is huge. It covers the front and center row seating, and you have a choice. You can just pull this to close the shade or open the shade. You can push this to slide the panoramic sunroof open. There we go. To slide the panoramic sunroof open, or if you don't really want it all the way open, you can press this button on the far right to tilt. and it just gives you a little air. So if you just want to get a little air moving in the car, maybe let the heat out on a hot day, just tilt that open. It's really nice. I like the way that Chevrolet configures this because it's very convenient. And then don't forget, every Chevrolet gets OnStar free with purchase. Passengers in the center row have some really nice features. First of all, panoramic sunroof, so everybody gets a lot of light. That makes the cabin feel open and airy. You don't feel like you're hemmed in by the headrests and by these large seats, which of course are very comfortable. But what else do we get in the second row? Well, this is where you're going to put your cups. There's a cup holder here. There is air here. Our version has heated seats. And then we have a household outlet and 2 USB ports right here in the center console. And then there's a little cubby where you could actually stow something like a phone or something small. You put your sunglasses right in there, and you could leave them in there. And that's a nice little cubby for storage. So I really like that. There are map pockets here. We have our window controls here, grab bars here, and importantly, we have our air vents here. So notice the air vents were not in the center console. They are actually in the ceiling. So if you're putting a child in a car seat, it's really nice. You can angle the air right to that child, whether they're rear facing or forward facing. If those air vents are here and a child's in a rear facing car seat, they're not going to get any air. Now you will have these vents back here. You have a little flexibility, but really those vents are pointed towards the third row. So these vents are great for children in car seats. Now let's talk about child passenger car seats. How are they going to fit in the Chevy Traverse? So the not such great news is there's only 2 full sets of child car seat latches. There's one set in each of the outboard seats in the center row. There are not child car seat latches, lower anchors in the third row. There are none. So all seats, car seats installed in the third row have to be seatbelt installed. But how many rear-facing child passenger car seats can you fit? Well, I brought my tape measure. And so let's talk about this. How does the Chevy Traverse fit child passenger car seats? Now, we expect that they're going to fit really well. This is a 3-row SUV. The center row seats move forward and back. There's plenty of room in the third row, plenty of room in the second row. And of course, the first row seats move forward and back as well. So you can make the adjustments that you need. But let's measure how they fit for rear-facing child passenger car seats. So you need about 32 inches seat back to seat back. This seat is positioned for plenty of room for me. I'm 5'8", and this gives us the magic 31 inches. I can actually move this seat back a little bit further. I can recline this seat back a little bit more. So you're going to get the 32 inches that you need. Remember, a rear-facing child car seat cannot touch this seat. I could actually have moved this seat up even a few more inches to accommodate me. I'm 5'8". This is set for me. And then this seat is all the way back. And this gives me 32 inches. So you could put 2 rear-facing child passenger car seats in the center row of the Chevy Traverse. If you opted for the bench, you could put one here and one here and still have the part that's the single seat that folds forward will slide and tilt. So you could actually even put a forward-facing car seat in this seat and still reach the third row. So that's pretty nice. If you only need one, captain's chairs are an option. If you're going to need 2 car seats, 2 rear-facing child passenger car seats, you really should think about the bench option. Not everybody's favorite, but it will be your favorite those days when you need to have people in the third row. So yes, the Traverse has a very sizable third row, but how do you get into it? Well, you have 2 choices. If you have a bench seat, you're going to have to put this seat forward or put it down. And if you have captain's chairs, you can use the pass-through, which is not so convenient here because that's where my handbag is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this seat, I'm going to slide and tilt this seat forward. This is designed to slide and tilt forward with a child passenger car seat installed. So there's a button on the side here, and all I do is push that button and it slides and tilts forward. There's also a button on the back of the seat. So if you need to get out of the third row you can just push this button to slide and tilt that seat forward. Now, we're going to do a little test because this seat, we saw that it works. Will it work with weight in the seat? And it should not. And it does not. Listen to it. You can hear it. So if there's more weight than the weight of a child passenger car seat, which is about 20 pounds or 25 pounds, this will not move forward. So if your 13-year-old thinks he's super clever and wants to push that button while grandma's sitting in the seat, not going to work. Now let's look at what it takes to get into the third row. So I am going to push this forward here, push this button here. The seat moves forward, and I have plenty of foot space here to climb into the third row. The third row has a nice amount of rise off the ground, not a lot. So my knees are kind of level with my hips, maybe a little bit higher than my hips. Not great for somebody who's really tall. I'm 5'8", and I feel pretty comfortable back here. This seat actually pushed back into what I would call a mid-level position. I don't think it's all the way back. It might actually be all the way back. And I have some room for my feet underneath, and my knees do fit here, but they are solidly, squarely against this seat. So I would be more comfortable if the person sitting here would be gracious enough to slide her seat forward. But if she doesn't, it's not a deal breaker. So let's talk about what you get in the third row. We've got vents here in the ceiling. We have USB ports on either side and cup holders and little boxes for snacks or something on either side as well. We have nice windows here on the side. There's a fair amount of light back here, and I have a lot of headroom. So I'm 5'8", and I have a lot of headroom here. So I do appreciate that. Then we can push these seats forward for a little more leg room, or because this one seats 3, I can sit here in the middle and extend my feet and cross my legs and just, ride first class. I like it. Now let's watch me get out of the third row and see how comfortable that is. So I'm going to use the pass-through, and this is where my yoga classes come in handy. But I do like that I can almost stand up in this car. Somebody who's shorter than me, somebody who's like maybe 8 or 10 years old, can stand up fully in this car, and they're going to be very comfortable. All in all, nicely done. We've been out all day on the back roads. I don't think we've even been on a 4-lane highway yet today, driving around western Georgia, and lots of hills, lots of 55-mile-an-hour speed limits, so not super slow, and really lovely experience. We drove with Super Cruise. I'll show you what that looks like, and just really getting a feel for what it's like behind the wheel of the Traverse RS. So there's a couple of things I want to show you here on the road. One is, I want you to look at where my eyes are here. Now I do have my seat set pretty high, but I still have a really good clearance between my head and the ceiling. So I don't feel like I'm pushed up against the ceiling, and I still have great visibility. And the reason is because Chevrolet designed this entire screen here to sit low and not impede my view of the road. Well, I'm able to get this really nice, wide, clear view of the road. I do see a little bit of the steering wheel. That's kind of important with the Super Cruise feature. You need to be able to see this. But even the steering wheel, which is right here, so I'm going to pull it. It's right here, like about chin level. I don't see the steering wheel impeding my view of the road. I have this really wide view of the road. I like that for 2 reasons. One, of course, it's like somebody took the blinders off. I can really see well. But also, it has more of the feeling of a full-size SUV versus the crossover that this car really is. And then there's the new engine. Should we listen to what it sounds like to accelerate up a hill? I think that's a good idea. So I'm just going to let this slow down a little bit. And now, there we go. And that's in normal mode. So now if I want to give it a little more gumption, give it a little more oomph, I'm actually going to switch into sport mode. So I'm tapping this little button over here. Now we're in sport mode. Okay, that's much faster. That gets me up to speed much faster. I don't know if you could see a little action there, but sport mode tightens the suspension a little bit, gives a little tighter steering feel, and then also gives you more torque as you're accelerating. So you go, it changes how the transmission shifts through the gears. So more of a sporty style. Feel that? Like it kind of downshifted and then it upshifted. So a little sportier style to the drive. If you're on a road like this and you want that power going over a hill or coming around a fun curve, or if you're just driving with people in all seats and you feel like you just need a little more power on the front end when you first tap that accelerator, sport mode is a great way to do it. So to turn on Super Cruise, first you have to turn on adaptive cruise. That is this button right here. This turns off adaptive cruise. This turns it on. Once that is on and you are on a mapped road, then I want you to watch this little bar here. This is how you know you have it, and this is how you know it's working. All I do is tap this button right here, and Super Cruise is on. I see this green light here, and then I had the notification there. And you'll see this here that shows that it's on, and this shows the speed that it's set to. And now I am hands-free. I have to keep my eyes on the road. This little notification, this little camera here will watch my eyes. Now, if I want to go faster, just like cruise control, I can push this little button up and increase my speed or decrease my speed. I need to watch my speed on the, look for my speed limit here on the map that'll show me the speed limit on the road that I'm on. I also have my navigation right here in my driver information display. It shows here that the speed limit is 55. I have set my cruise control, my Super Cruise, to 55. And look at this, I am totally hands-free. And we're on this narrow road. Look at how narrow this road is. Now I can feel the car picking up speed as we're going up this hill, which is pretty awesome. And now let's see what it does when we merge, because the lane will disappear. So it's mapped this road. Now it's flashing red because it's telling me it cannot actually read the lines on the road. So this is where the driver has to be attentive and engaged. So I had to assist it a little bit. Now it's flashing blue, and that's telling me it's ready but not working. It's still engaged. Now, okay, so now it's gone back to green, and that means it's fully engaged. So you do have to watch the color. Blue means it's working but not engaged. Green means it's fully engaged, fully go. Red means you need to put your hands on the wheel. Those are the colors you need to look for on Super Cruise. And I'm going to say, I never use cruise control on a road like this because it's so narrow and it's a little windy, a little twisty, but Chevrolet is very confident in using Super Cruise on a road like this, and it's doing great. If this were my 16-year-old driver, I'd be like, thumbs up. I'm in the third row. I never get to sit back here, so I'm pretty excited to sit back here and see what it's like with Jana behind the wheel. Hi, Jana.
You're going to see what it's like, because I just put it in sport mode. So
oh, good. She put it in sport mode.
Hold it on.
So I'm going to hold on. And I'm going to show you a few other things back here while I'm enjoying the rest of my day driving in the Chevy Traverse. Okay, so third row, first impressions. So these seats, I put them forward a little bit, but there's still not enough legroom for me. I'm 5'8". Look at this headroom. So I've got plenty of headroom back here. And I'm feeling a little luxe back here. Like, you know, it's nice being driven around. I wish somebody would drive me around all the time. Give me a glass of champagne and a foot massage, and I'm good. And then there is a dome light here, and then I'll show you over here. There's actually vents in the seat here as well. I could feel the cold air coming out from here. So the seats are really well vented. I really appreciate that. And I also there's windows here, there's the window back there. This is the seat belt for the middle position. I'm sitting in the middle seat, so I can stretch my legs out. So honestly, there are people who are like, why do you need two? A third row with a middle seat is great, because that allows the third row passenger, if there's only one, to sit in the middle, have this great view of the car, and to be able to extend her legs into the space and not feel like she's sometimes they call it the penalty box. You don't feel like you're in Siberia back here. So that's pretty nice. And you do have to ask your center row passengers for help, though, with climate control, which is right there. What you don't have to ask them for is help putting that seat down. So you have a button here. We're in the RS edition, so this is electric. Otherwise, it'll be a tab that you pull here on the seat shoulder, and that's going to put the seat down for you. And then there's the tether for the kids' car seats. So that's the view from the third row. In case you've never been back here, this is what it's like. It's actually quite a comfortable ride. Jana, turns out, is a pretty good driver. This is the Z71 version of the Chevy Traverse. The first time that Chevy has had the Z71, which is off-road capability. You know it from the pickup trucks and from the SUVs, the large four-wheel drive SUVs. This is the first time they've had this in the Traverse, which is a family-friendly SUV. So how can you tell, and what is different about the Z71? It's not just a badge, but let me show you what's different and why it's a great thing to have if you tow, if you go skiing, if you go any place where you're on a gravel trail. This is what you want. So first of all, there's the Z71 badging here. And this is a badge, you'll see this across any of Chevrolet's off-road capable trucks and SUVs. And then it has recovery hooks here. So this is if you need to pull something or someone, if you need to pull a log off a trail, you can just tie a rope around it and pull it off. Be very careful because you don't want to hurt yourself. Or you can pull another vehicle out of the muck, something like that. It also has a higher ground clearance. So it is an inch higher, well, actually 1.2 inches higher than the standard Chevy Traverse. And it has all-terrain tires. So you'll notice these sort of bigger, knobbier tires. These are designed for driving on trails, driving fast on trails. We drove about 40 miles an hour on the off-road trail today. Underneath, and I can't really show you, but this is where it is, the Traverse also has skid plates, and actually you can see there's an aluminum skid plate there for off-roading. And then inside, there are a few things to make the Z71 Chevy Traverse even more capable. Come on, let me show you. So inside, we have a few new details that make this great for off-roading. And I don't mean heavy off-roading, I'm going to say light off-roading, but also snow. If you have regular sort of snow plow mounds at the end of your driveway, this is going to give you that capability. Let me show you these modes. So the buttons are over here on the left. Chevrolet likes to put all of their off-road functions over here. So in their four-wheel drive vehicles, you'll find those always to the left. I can toggle between two-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, and then, which is really nice for fuel economy. And then I can change my drive mode. So here's tow haul, there is normal, there is sport. I have off-road, which gives me true off-road mode. If you're driving in like true winter weather, you probably want off-road mode. That's going to give you a lot of traction and traction on every wheel. And here's terrain mode. And terrain mode is going to give you capability and keep the car from rolling backwards. It's sort of like cruise control or one pedal driving, but for off-road. And actually, you just push this button and it just keeps scrolling right through all of these. There's a tow haul if you need to tow, which you can tow up to 5,000 pounds in the Chevy Traverse. The other great feature for off-roading is this, camera mode. So I have these great cameras here. I can get a 360-degree view there. I can look at the standard view there, which gives me 360 and then forward facing, that is in front of the car. I can look at my side cameras here, so I'm able to see, and I'll show you really quickly. This is kind of fun. So my camera is actually underneath the side view mirror, so that's where that is. I can look at my trailer hitch, so this is looking directly down at the lower bumper in the back. There's my overhead view, so I can see all around. I can see the back, or I can see the front, so that's how I toggle between those. And then I get my standard view. So this is the standard view. When I put it in reverse, this is the standard view that I get in reverse. But when I'm off-roading, let's say that I'm driving and I'm off-roading, I want to tap that camera, and then I get the choice of whatever view I want. So I can get that standard forward view. If I'm going between two narrow objects like two rocks or trees or something like that, or if the trail is just really narrow and it drops off on one side or the other, I can put this view on and I can see everything that I need to see. It's kind of like having a spotter, but right here, giving you every view that you need. a really important feature for off-roading, a really great thing to have. And I'm glad that Chevrolet decided to add that to the Traverse in the Z71 edition. It's been a great day driving around West Georgia in the 2024 Chevy Traverse. I sat in the third row, I sat in the second row, I sat in the driver's seat, sat in the passenger seat. All in all, it was a really good drive. I love the power under your foot. I love all the capability. And I also really love that Chevrolet thought to build a Z71 for people who tow and who drive on gravel or rutted roads. I think about that lake house that we used to go to. I think about the ski slopes that can be a challenge to get to. That's where you're going to really appreciate the Z71. The RS, if you're towing, say, bikes to the track or your snowmobiles up to the mountain, then that's really the one that you're going to enjoy. It's great for that. Both have all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is an option on all of them. Let's talk about pricing. The 2024 Chevy Traverse starts at about $38,000 and goes to about $56,000 for the RS all-wheel drive, the one that we have spent the day in. All in all, Chevrolet has been really thoughtful in how they've redesigned the 2024 Chevy Traverse. It is great for people in the third row. I like that there is a third row bench that seats 3. I like that there are center row captain's chairs. I like that the captain's chairs now have that slide and tilt feature. I like the new multimedia system. I love the Hey Google function in this car, but you still have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I like that Blue Cruise is an option or it's standard. I like all the safety features. There's a lot to like or maybe even love in the 2024 Chevy Traverse.